My name is Bronte Brooks. 2 hours after giving birth to my daughter, I looked at my husband, expecting him to hold her for the first time. Instead, he stepped back, looked me straight in the eyes, and whispered, "I'm leaving you." I thought he was joking. Then he looked at our newborn baby and said, "I don't want this child." The hospital room went completely silent. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I simply smiled and quietly said, "Then remember this moment, because you'll never get it back." The next morning, one phone call changed everything, and suddenly, the man who abandoned us was begging outside my hospital room. My name is Bronte Brooks. I grew up in Seattle, Washington. I met my husband, Ryan Brooks, during my last year of college. He was charming, successful. Everyone thought we were the perfect couple. 2 years later, we got married. For a while, life felt like a dream. When I found out I was pregnant, Ryan hugged me tightly. "I can't wait to be a dad," he whispered. I believed every word. For 9 months, we decorated the nursery together, bought tiny clothes, argued over baby names, laughed about our future. I truly believed nothing could ever break us. I was wrong. The night I went into labor, Ryan drove me to the hospital. He held my hand through every contraction. For 12 exhausting hours, he never left my side. At exactly 2:17 a.m., our beautiful baby girl was born. The nurse smiled. "Congratulations, you have a healthy daughter." I cried tears of joy. She was perfect. Tiny fingers, tiny nose, tiny heartbeat. I looked at Ryan, waiting for him to smile. Instead, his face turned cold. He didn't walk toward our daughter. He didn't even look at her. The nurse gently asked, "Dad, would you like to hold your baby?" Ryan slowly shook his head. "No." The room became silent. He walked closer to my bed, then leaned toward me and whispered, "I've been seeing someone else." My heart stopped. Before I could speak, he continued, "She already has a son. I've decided. I'm leaving with her." I stared at him in disbelief. Then he looked at our newborn daughter and quietly said, "I don't want this child." The nurse gasped. Even the doctor froze. No one could believe what they had just heard. Ryan picked up his jacket, walked toward the door, and without looking back, he left. I looked down at my baby girl. She wrapped her tiny fingers around mine. At that moment, I made myself one promise. I'll never let you feel unwanted. I kissed her forehead and whispered, "You and I are going to build a beautiful life." I had no idea that less than 24 hours later, Ryan's entire world was about to collapse. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my daughter crying. The hospital room felt empty. Ryan hadn't called. He hadn't sent a single message, not even to ask if his daughter was okay. I looked at my baby girl and whispered, "It's just you and me now." Around 9 a.m., a nurse knocked on my door. "Mrs. Brooks, there's a gentleman asking to see you." I told him you're resting. I frowned. "I don't know anyone here." A few seconds later, an older man walked into my room. He was wearing an expensive navy blue suit. His eyes were filled with concern. "Bronte, my name is William Brooks. I'm Ryan's father. I had only met him once at our wedding. He lived in New York and rarely visited Seattle." The moment he saw his granddaughter, his eyes filled with tears. He gently picked her up. "She's beautiful." Then he looked at me. "What Ryan did is unforgivable." I stayed silent. William took a deep breath. "I found out this morning. I came as fast as I could." He reached into his briefcase and handed me a sealed envelope. Inside were legal documents. I looked at him in confusion. "What is this?" He answered quietly. Our family company. My heart skipped a beat. Our family trust has one rule. If any family member abandons their legal spouse and newborn child, they immediately lose their ownership rights. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. William nodded slowly. Ryan signed those papers years ago. He knew the consequences. Just then, William's phone rang. He answered. His expression changed instantly. What? He stood up. I'll be there immediately. He ended the call, then looked at me. The board of directors has just removed Ryan as CEO. They've frozen every company account connected to him. He lost everything in less than 12 hours. I sat there speechless. Ryan had walked away believing he was starting a better life. Instead, he had destroyed the life he had spent years building. That afternoon, my phone suddenly started ringing. Ryan. I ignored it. Again. And again. Then a text message appeared. Bronte, please answer. I made a terrible mistake. Another message arrived seconds later. Please don't file for divorce. Then another. I need to explain everything. I looked at my sleeping daughter, locked my phone, and quietly smiled, because for the first time, Ryan understood exactly what it felt like to lose everything. 3 days passed. Ryan called me more than 50 times. I answered none of them. For the first time in years, I wasn't waiting for him. I was protecting my peace. One afternoon, my divorce attorney, Grace Morgan, visited my hospital room. She placed a folder on my bed. Bronte. Ryan has officially lost his position as CEO. The board also voted to remove him from every executive role. I looked at her in disbelief. So it's really over? Grace nodded. It gets worse. She handed me another document. According to your prenuptial agreement, because Ryan abandoned you and your newborn daughter, you are entitled to the Seattle house, full custody of your daughter, and a substantial financial settlement. I slowly closed the folder. I hadn't asked for revenge. I only wanted respect. That evening, someone knocked on my hospital door. It was Ryan. He looked exhausted. His designer suit was gone. His eyes were red from crying. He quietly walked inside. Bronte. I'm sorry. I looked at him without saying a word. He slowly stepped closer to the crib. Can I hold her? I gently moved the crib back. No. His voice trembled. Please. I'm her father. I looked directly into his eyes. The day she was born. You said you didn't want this child. You walked away before she even opened her eyes. You don't get to rewrite that moment. Ryan broke down. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I thought the other woman loved me. The moment I lost my job, she left. She only wanted my money. The room fell silent. For the first time, Ryan understood what real loss felt like. Just then, William Brooks walked into the room. He looked at his son with disappointment. I spent years building this family, and you destroyed it in one night. Ryan lowered his head. I know, Dad. William turned toward me. Bronte, I've made a decision. I've transferred Lily's future into a protected education trust. College, healthcare, everything she will ever need. It's already taken care of. Tears filled my eyes. I whispered, thank you. Ryan looked at his father in shock. You did that? For her? William answered calmly. No. I did it because she deserves the love you refused to give. Ryan couldn't stop crying. As I picked up my daughter, Grace handed me one final envelope. Bronte, these papers arrived from the court this morning. I opened the envelope. After reading the first page, I froze. The judge had made a decision that would change all of our lives forever. The courtroom was completely silent. I held my daughter, Lily, close to my chest. Ryan sat across the room. He looked nothing like the confident CEO I had once married. He looked broken. The judge opened the final file, then looked at both of us. After reviewing the evidence, I have reached my decision. My heart was pounding. The judge continued, Mrs. Bronte Brooks, you are granted full legal and physical custody of Lily. Ryan closed his eyes. The judge wasn't finished. Mr. Ryan Brooks, you will have supervised visitation until the court determines it is in the child's best interest. Tears rolled down Ryan's face. He quietly whispered, I understand. Outside the courtroom, Ryan stopped me. Bronte, I know I don't deserve another chance. But please, don't let Lily grow up hating me. I looked at him for a long moment. Then I answered calmly, I will never teach our daughter to hate you. But one day, she'll ask why you weren't there. And that answer will always belong to you. Ryan couldn't hold back his tears. For the first time, he understood that some mistakes leave scars that never disappear. Months passed. Life slowly became peaceful. I returned to work. Lily was growing stronger every day. She laughed. She smiled. She filled every room with happiness. William Brooks kept his promise. He visited often. He loved Lily with all his heart. To her, he wasn't just a grandfather. He became the steady father figure Ryan had failed to be. 1 year later, William announced his retirement. At the company's annual meeting, he surprised everyone. I've spent 40 years building Brooks Technologies. Today, I'm creating the Lily Brooks Future Foundation. The foundation would provide scholarships for single mothers and children across America. Then he looked at me. Bronte, you taught this family the true meaning of strength. The audience stood and applauded. After the ceremony, Ryan quietly walked over. He handed me a small photo album. Inside were pictures of every supervised visit with Lily. I never missed a single visit, he said. I know I can't change the past, but I'll spend the rest of my life trying to become the father she deserves. I smiled gently. I hope you do. Not for me, for Lily. That evening, I stood on a beach in Seattle, holding my daughter as the sun disappeared beyond the ocean. Lily looked up at me. Mommy, are we going to be okay? I kissed her forehead. We already are. At that moment, I realized something. The worst day of my life, the day my husband refused to hold his own daughter, had become the beginning of our greatest blessing, because losing the wrong person made room for the right future. The greatest revenge isn't making someone regret leaving you. It's building a life so full of love that their absence no longer defines your happiness.